Let's get started with our first news. Charles Oliveira is not interested in fighting Justin Gaethje after his impressive win over Michael Chandler. Oliveira has made it clear that his sole focus is on securing a title shot, whether it's against Islam Makhachev for the lightweight championship or Max Holloway for the BMF belt. Oliveira is not looking to take any detours. During an interview with Alvaro Colmenero on ABC MMA this week, Oliveira reinforced his title shot or bust stance, while explicitly dismissing the idea of a fight with Gaethje at this moment. "I believe this is not the time because I'm ahead in search of a title. But why not further forward? It would be a great fight. He's a tough guy, like I am too. We had a great fight. I just won, but I'm looking forward, not back. It's not the time. I'm looking for the title fight," Oliveira stated. Of course, as Ariel Helwani has speculated, the UFC might be holding off on confirming Makhachev's next opponent until they see what happens between Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena in May. If Muhammad emerges victorious and the UFC decides to book Makhachev for a move up to 170 lbs to fight JDM before the end of the year, that could leave Oliveira in a prime position for a championship fight at lightweight. In that scenario, Oliveira could either end up competing for an interim title or facing Max Holloway for the BMF title. Holloway himself has expressed interest in this matchup, stating back in January that he wants to defend the ceremonial title against Du Bronx. The proposed timeline for this fight would be on this summer's International Fight Week card, making it a high-profile event with major stakes. Meanwhile, Justin Gaethje finds himself in an interesting position. If Oliveira is off the table, the highlight will have to look elsewhere for his next fight. One potential option could be a clash with Dan Hooker this summer. Hooker has been looking to climb the rankings again and has expressed his willingness to fight top contenders. Another possibility is a trilogy bout with Dustin Poirier. With the Diamond potentially heading into the final fight of his career, a Gaethje versus Poirier showdown could be the perfect way to close that chapter. Poirier's legendary career is reaching its final chapters. Ultimately, Oliveira has made his intentions clear. He is not looking for any fight other than one that brings him closer to the championship. With the UFC's lightweight division in flux, it will be interesting to see how the pieces fall into place over the coming months. Moving on to another news story, Jorge Masvidal exposes Colby Covington. Before Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington had a bitter falling out, the two were close friends and teammates, often seen supporting each other throughout Fight Week. They trained together, celebrated victories together, and even spoke highly of one another in interviews. However, things took a dark turn when their friendship fell apart, leading to one of the most intense rivalries in MMA history. Although Gamebred has his sights set on settling a long-standing beef with Leon Edwards for his big return fight, the original BMF told Ariel Helwani this week that a fight with Colby Covington is never far from his mind. He still holds a deep grudge against his former teammate, and given their past animosity, a future showdown remains a possibility. While weighing in on the former interim champion's loss to Joaquin Buckley back in December, Masvidal revealed that he is not surprised by the outcome because he has been hearing that Covington has gotten too deep into Miami's scene and lost focus on his career. Ask Colby, that's another one too. Whenever I see that guy, I saw the highlights of his recent fight against Joaquin Buckley. I didn't see the entire thing. I like Buck, he's a good guy. I wasn't surprised. Covington's doing a lot, from what I hear, man, so it's catching up. God-given ability is the only thing he had, just throwing it away. Not really surprising if you take a deep dive into him. You could see it in the character, Masvidal said. Masvidal made it clear that he believes Covington is not the same fighter he used to be, hinting that his lifestyle choices are negatively impacting his performance inside the cage. He also sent a message to Leon Edwards during his appearance on the show, calling on Rocky to settle things once and for all. Masvidal is eager to finally step into the octagon against Edwards, as their feud dates back years and remains unresolved. "Let's go throw it down like men. Beat your ass, and that's it," Masvidal said. So far, there is no word on when Edwards will return to the octagon after his loss to Sean Brady last week. However, given that Masvidal is unranked and has not won a fight since 2019 when he stopped Nate Diaz, the former champion may not be interested in the fight, even if it does give him a chance to get some revenge on Masvidal. In the case of Covington, the former interim champion has not fired back regarding the allegations. However, he is also looking for a fight and recently called out both the Diaz brothers, Paul Felder and MVP. Whether he responds to Masvidal's claims remains to be seen, but given Covington's history of trash talk, a response could be coming soon. Could we see Covington and Masvidal settle their score inside the cage once and for all? Fans are eager to find out. Moving on to another news story, Magomed Ankalaev thinks Alex Pereira doesn't want a rematch. Today, Magomed Ankalaev said he feels like Alex Pereira is avoiding the rematch. Last week, Ankalaev claimed that he was offered the rematch against Pereira in August and accepted. He wrote, "Joe Rogan mentioned his team said Alex fought with a broken hand and norovirus. When fighters step in the cage, nobody is 100%. I was offered a rematch with him in August, and I said yes, but if he is not ready, I will fight whoever is next. It doesn't matter." Today, Ankalaev posted again, writing, "I have a feeling you don't want the rematch after I agreed to it." The speculation surrounding this potential rematch has been growing, especially given how the first fight played out. Pereira, known for his striking prowess, had a tough battle against Ankalaev. Many believe that if they fight again, it could be an even tougher challenge for the Brazilian. Ankalaev has been steadily making his case as one of the most dangerous light heavyweights in the division, and his confidence has only grown since their last encounter. This back and forth has left fans wondering, is Pereira avoiding the rematch? Some believe that Alex is simply recovering and needs more time, while others suspect he is trying to choose his next fight carefully. Regardless, Ankalaev is ready to go and has made it clear that he will fight whoever is next in line if Pereira doesn't accept. The UFC has yet to make an official announcement, but if Pereira doesn't take the fight, there could be serious implications for the light heavyweight division. Would Ankalaev get an immediate title shot against someone else? Would Pereira move on to another opponent? These questions remain unanswered. One thing is for sure. Ankalaev is not backing down. He has been vocal about his readiness, and if Pereira doesn't step up, it could damage his reputation among fans and fellow fighters. Meanwhile, Ankalaev continues to train, preparing for whatever comes next. He wants the title, and whether he has to go through Pereira again or another contender, he's hungry for gold. Who do you think Ankalaev should fight next? Should Pereira take the rematch, or is it time for a new challenger to step in? Let us know in the comments. Moving on to another news story, Joe Rogan demands a UFC rule change. During an episode of Joe Rogan's podcast, he said that the UFC's rules on strikes to the back of the head should be changed to make them legal. He compared it to other areas of the head that are vulnerable but legal to strike, like the eye socket. Here's what Rogan had to say. Eddie Bravo talked about this all the time. In the old days of MMA, when a guy got someone's back, they would just drop elbows down on his head, back of the head. If you have someone's back and the head is there, all this punching just to the side. Not realistic. You realize you can't just lie flat on your back. You're like, you better protect the back of your neck because it's very, very vulnerable. Rogan continued his argument by pointing out the inconsistency in the rules. So guys would have to, when they lie on their back or stomach, protect their head. They would have to try to roll. They would have to do something to get out of that position instead of just realizing that you can hold there and cover the sides of your face because you could leave the back of your head exposed. I mean, I'm sure if you talk to a Neuroscientists would likely say that the back of the head is a particularly vulnerable area, but Rogan questioned why it is treated differently than other sensitive parts of the body. Man isn't the temple, aren't the eyes. Everything is so vulnerable, and all those are legal. You could elbow a dude in the eye socket, 100% legal. So explain to me why the back of the head is so much more vulnerable. I don't get it, Rogan said. This is not the first time Rogan has spoken out against certain rules in MMA. Over the years, he has called for changes to the scoring system, criticized early stoppages in fights, and pushed for open scoring. This time, his argument about legalizing strikes to the back of the head has stirred up controversy. Fighters and fans have weighed in, with some agreeing that the rule is outdated and needs revision, while others argue that it is in place to protect fighters from life-threatening injuries. For now, the UFC has not made any moves to change this rule, but with someone as influential as Joe Rogan bringing attention to it, discussions on the topic will likely continue. What do you think? Should strikes to the back of the head be legalized, or is this a rule that should never change? Moving on to another news story, Conor McGregor has once again stirred up the MMA world with his latest social media post, taking aim at three of the sport's biggest names: Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev, and Khabib Nurmagomedov. The former two-division champion is known for his brash trash talk and ability to get under the skin of his rivals, and today was no different. In his latest Instagram post, McGregor shared a video comparing the knockout records of the three fighters he targeted. The video showed that Khabib has secured 8 knockouts in his career, Topuria has 6, and Islam Makhachev has 5. In the caption, McGregor didn't hold back, writing 3 little staph infections, KOing a clear dig at their finishing ability compared to his own McGregor's. Reference to staph infections appears to be a play on words, mocking their achievements while possibly alluding to their fighting styles or training camps. The Irish superstar has never been one to shy away from feuds, and this latest jab is just another chapter in his long-standing tradition of stirring the pot. With Russian media outlet Usha Taa Gamzatov shared a surprising moment from a recent sparring session that left many people in the gym in disbelief. According to him, on a day when Greg Jackson and the team had arranged for 2 UFC heavyweight fighters to assist Jones in his training, the champion showed up clearly intoxicated, but that didn't stop him from absolutely dominating his sparring partners. He was definitely drunk. I could see it right away, Gamzatov said, but when he stepped onto the mats, it was like nothing had changed. He went in there and just ragdolled 2 high-level heavyweights with ease. He made it look effortless. The news adds yet another bizarre chapter to the already legendary and unpredictable career of Jon Jones. The longtime pound-for-pound great has always been known for his incredible skill-set fight, IQ, and dominance inside the cage. However, his outside-the-cage antics, including legal issues, partying habits, and questionable decision-making, have often raised concerns about his discipline and longevity in the sport. Despite those concerns, this latest revelation proves one thing: Jones's raw talent and physical dominance remain unmatched. If he's able to throw around top-tier heavyweights while allegedly under the influence, one can only imagine what he's capable of when fully focused and in peak condition. Of course, many fans will wonder if this incident is a red flag ahead of his much-anticipated bout against interim champion Tom Aspinall. After all, Aspinall has been looking sharper than ever, and if Jones is truly not taking his preparation seriously,